All right, welcome to another Vikings Vintage, where we talk about the history between the Vikings and the team that they're playing this week. This week they're playing the Tennessee Titans slash Oilers. So we have a history with both. But right now it's the Titans, uh, which I don't think the Vikings. The Vikings have not played very often since they've been the Titans, but we yeah.
Skull Vikings, let's win this game. Skull Vikings, honor your name. Go get that first down, then get a touchdown. Rock 'em, sock 'em, fight, 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 fight. Go Vikings, run out the score. You'll hear us yell for more. V-I-K-I-N-G-S. Skull Vikings, let's go.
So the Vikings have the all-time record at 9-5. This is including when they were the Houston Oilers. So the Vikings are 9-5 all-time against the Oilers slash Titans.
We'll just call them the Bud Adams franchise because that's the family that owns them. The Adams franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they own them. So, yeah. A couple of the games have been close. Most of the time, they usually lean one way or the other. Usually lean in the way of the Vikings. So.
Yeah, so we're talking see. But the first time they played was 1974. That's mostly because Houston was an AFL team.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Vikings lost. Let me see. Is this? Let me see who this is from first. Is this on the Vikings side? Let me see.
Stop it.
First time we played them was 74. That one I remember.
Yeah.
We
so
beat
the first time.
We
the
beat
first,
them
okay.
10.
So this is because when I look up Titans Vikings history, sometimes it brings up the Vikings page, sometimes it brings up the Titans page.
Mm-hmm.
This one's brought up the Titans page, and the first time that they played, the Vikings won 51-10. That was 74.
Yep, 74. Vikings ran up 51 points. Here's a funny thing about that. The game wasn't televised here in the Twin Cities. It wasn't a sellout. So we had to listen to it on the radio. And sure enough, the Viking offense was just rolling that day. I mean, the Vikings had their second stringers in the game by the third quarter. By the middle of the third quarter, the second string and third string were seeing action. But, yeah, that was just the Vikings just steamrolled them that day.
Yeah, so it was. There's no box score because it's from the 70s.
Yeah, are you on Pro Football Focus or
the Pro Football Database?
Pro Football Database?
Yeah, they don't have anything from like the 60s and 70s for box scores, but they have 1980 box score.
Yeah, it's probably when they started doing it.
Yeah,
when they started.
The Titans won that one 20-16. Well, the Oilers.
That one, the week before was the Vikings Hail Mary where they won the division against Cleveland. In 1980, that was the final game of the year against the Oilers, who were heading into the playoffs themselves. Earl Campbell ran for, I think, 203 yards on the Vikings. Maybe, I think 206 maybe. But the Vikings were winning towards the end. Earl scored the game-winning touchdown after the 2-minute warning. But that was, I mean...
Yeah, the Houston Oilers had 10 rushing first downs that game. Total rushing yardage, net rushing yards was 219 for the Oilers in that game.
What did the Vikings get?
Vikings had 114.
Okay, and most of that was Ted Brown.
For Tommy Kramer threw for 286 and 266. One, let's see, with 2 touchdowns, 4 picks.
That's a typical Tommy day.
And then Ken Stabler was the Oilers quarterback.
Yep.
So rushing for the Vikings was 10 carries for 66 yards for Brown. Earl Campbell had 29 carries for 203 yards.
203. Okay. Yeah.
Long of 41. But he only had 1 touchdown.
Yeah, and that was a game winner. And it still came down to the end. Tommy was good for that's why they called him 2-minute Tommy. Well, he missed a couple of passes at the end there that could have possibly won it. So
yeah, so the first quarter, Sinzer 3-yard pass,
mm-hmm.
Reception. Houston kicked a field goal. Sinzer another touchdown. Casper touchdown from Stabler, and then a field goal from the Oilers, and then in the fourth quarter, a field goal from Damalier, and then Earl Campbell scored.
Who was kicking for the Oilers? Was it Frisch?
Yep,
Tony
Frisch. So that was the second meeting.
Yep.
And if the Vikings went, it would go Oilers, Vikings with the first couple of times they played.
Mm-hmm.
So the next time they played, the Vikings won 34-14. This was 1983.
Yeah, that was Tommy Kramer had been hurt, and I believe it was the start of. I think Steve Dill started his second game, I believe, and that was dominated by the Vikings. So
yeah, Steve Dill's 20 of 34 for 227 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, he threw that to Steve Jordan.
Darren Nelson, 74 yards rushing.
Yep. Earl Campbell had 100 yards. Earl Campbell had 120 some odd yards.
Close. 130.
130 yards, and he got most of that in the first half. He was by the second half, he was out.
Yeah, and then Darren Nelson had 57 yards receiving as well.
Yeah. That was the defense had like 8 turnovers, I believe.
Let's see. The defense had, 2 picks.
Mm-hmm.
One by Turner, one by White.
Joey Browner had a pick 6 that was called back.
It doesn't say anything about fumble recoveries or anything like that.
Okay, I remember.
Let me go to the box score and see if they have turnovers.
Charlie Johnson scored on a 50-yard fumble return for the Vikings.
Some fumbles lost. Oilers 5 of 5.
Yeah. So that's 7.
And Minnesota
turnovers.
had 1.
Mm-hmm.
So
Minnesota
that's 7 turnovers, 5 fumbles, 2 picks.
Yep. Walker Lee Ashley blocked a punt. Neil Elshire had like 3 sacks in the whole game. The Vikings had like 6 or 7 sacks.
6 sacks.
Yep. And Neil Elshire had 3 of them. Gifford Nielsen was a quarterback for the Oilers. He was not very good. Not very good at all. And I think the Oilers had just changed coaches. I think Chuck Studley had took over as their new head coach.
Yeah, let's see. The Oilers were 0-7 when the Vikings played them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's how bad they were. And even then there was talk in NFL circles that the Oilers were going to go hard after Warren Moon, who was coming to the NFL.
Oh, franchise chasing quarterback. I'd do it too. They're going 0-7.
Yeah, they were going right. Everybody knew that they were going after a quarterback, and Warren Moon made himself available because the season was over. I think he had just won the Great.
Yeah, just so you know, 17 completions on 31 attempts for 197 yards.
Yeah,
that was Houston's quarterback.
That's how bad Nielsen was. That's how bad he was. Now, keep in mind, his backup would have been Archie Manning, but 2 weeks earlier, Minnesota made the trade with the Oilers for Manning and Casper.
Manning actually had one rushing attempt and lost a yard.
Yeah, it was a quarterback kneel. He took the quarterback kneel. He Casper had a catch, I believe. But yeah, the last play of the game, Bud put Archie in there just to take the snap and take the knee.
Kind of a, hey, I'm a teammate, kind of a, this is your old team type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't think he cared about that -1 rushing yard because how many times he got sacked in his career.
Yeah, he got the W. I think at that time, Archie just wanted W's instead of yards. He just wanted to be on a winner. He thought coming up here he was going to be on a winner, but unfortunately it fell apart for him.
Yeah. Oh, then 86 is the next time they played. The Oilers won that one 23-10.
That one, the Vikings had the chance. If they had won that game, they still had an outside chance of making the playoffs. And
yeah, the Oilers were 4-11.
Yeah, and the Vikings blew it. They blew it. And
That
loss knocked them out of the playoffs.
Well, this is when the Oilers were starting. You could see the Oilers starting to get good because this is when they had, this is around the time where they started getting good players. Like Ernest Givens,
they started building the team. Yeah.
Yeah. They had Ernest Givens. They had Warren Moon. They had Alan Pinkett.
Yeah.
Zendejas
better too. They had
Yeah.
Ray Childress on that side of the football. They had a couple of linebackers that were good. Chris Dishman, I think, was with them.
Yeah, they had Tony Zendejas as their kicker, who was there for
Tony Zendejas.
All those guys were pretty good for the for the Oilers. Sorry.
Yeah, and I mean so they were building something. They weren't the run and shoot yet.
Well, they didn't get that until Glavin got there, right?
Yeah,
Glanville. Sorry,
Glanville. Okay, so does it say who the coach was in '86?
No, it just says Oilers. It just says Oilers versus Vikings. Let's see.
Because I forget right off the bat who the Oilers head coach was in '85, '86.
So Jerry Burns was our coach.
Burns was our coach, yes. Was their coach Frank Biles?
Let me see. And this was 86.
I forget because I'm like forget who their coach was.
My baby.
Oh, I forgot. I got to do.
My baby, 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 baby. You're my baby, you're my baby, you're my baby, you're my baby, you're my
That's not what I'm looking for.
It was Jerry Glanville.
So that might have been the. Well, let's go. Let's see how many passing attempts did Warren Moon have.
Yeah, it was Glanville. Wow.
So Warren Moon threw 37 passes.
Okay, which was a lot for the '80s.
Yeah.
How many did
they ran? They ran the ball. Alan Pinkett ran the ball 23 times.
How many yards?
67.
He did a lot of running for nothing. That's like a 3-4 yard carry.
Ernest Givens had 2 carries for 30 yards, but one of them was for 26.
Okay. That's end around.
Then Anthony Carter had 6 for 86. And then Ernest Givens 6 for 108.
Who scored the Viking touchdown?
There was a receiving touchdown and that was a rushing. Let's see. So it was Alan Rice.
Oh, okay.
A 32-yard pass from Kramer.
Oh, he cut. Okay, Kramer. Okay, Wade Wilson played in that game too. I don't think Kramer finished it.
No, Wade Wilson. I saw Wade Wilson's name on here.
Yeah, he ended up playing.
Yeah, Wade Wilson actually threw more passes than Kramer did.
Yeah, it was the second half.
Alfred Anderson actually threw a pass too.
Well, that don't surprise me. That doesn't surprise me.
Good old Alfred Anderson, man.
Alfred threw at least one pass a game. They always put that halfback option in there for him to throw a pass.
Ernest Givens threw a pass in that game too.
Oh, really?
It is incomplete, but yeah. Ernest Givens, was he the one? If I remember correctly, he was the one that had that. Didn't he do like a dead leg celebration when he scored a touchdown?
He would slide his
kinda
leg and then shake.
Or was it
called it
or
the
slide it towards him?
Yeah, he called it the electric quake.
Yeah.
Yep, that was Ernest Givens.
It was actually White Shoes Johnson that actually started this whole touchdown celebration thing.
He had the most elaborate one, and before him it was Elmo Wright.
He would do the what was that dance called?
Looked like the funky chicken.
Like the electric legs, or
Yeah.
something like that.
And he would
Spike the ball and just like do his legs back with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was, and he was still playing then too. He was in Atlanta.
Yeah,
because he went to the CFL and he came back to the States. But yeah, and that was one of the few times the Vikings played at the Astrodome. I honestly think they only played at the Astrodome maybe a couple times in the regular season.
Let's see. It looks like it's every 3 years. Every 3 years they play, every 6 years. So, the 89 was the next time they played. That was at Minnesota. Oh, then
that was 89.
So yeah, they played 83, 86, 89, and then they played again in 92. And then they played again in 98. 92, 89 and 92 back to back in Minnesota.
Right, yeah. The 89 game, Minnesota won 34-7. Now here's a funny part about that game. It was a first game action for Steve Jordan and Anthony Carter because they all held out in preseason. Carter went off for like 100 and some odd yards on 7 catches and a couple of touchdowns. Jordan had a touchdown, but it was the Viking defense that was just blowing up the run and shoot.
So here's the thing. So the last time the Oilers and Vikings played, Warren Moon was the quarterback, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Warren Moon was the quarterback again, but I think this wasn't just like the last. Wasn't he like the next time the Vikings played in 92? Isn't he the quarterback for the Vikings?
No, he was a quarterback for the Oilers. Matter of fact,
no,
Warren
90, okay. I'm trying to remember what year Warren Moon was a quarterback for the Vikings.
94 through 96. He came to the Vikings in 94.
Yeah, okay. But Warren Moon threw 8. God. Warren Moon was 8 of 20 for 69 yards passing.
Oh, in the 89 game?
Yeah.
It's because he got sacked 8 times.
7 times.
He got sacked 7 times, 3 by Keith Millard.
Wade Wilson threw 16 completions, 25 for 218 yards.
Yeah.
And Alan Pinkett was only 37 yards for Alan Pinkett. DJ Jozar, DJ! 7 for 41.
Was he our leading rusher that game?
Yep, 7 for 41. Finney was 9 of 37.
Okay.
And then Nelson was 7 of 30.
Okay. But yeah, I mean, because I remember the front four just went off. Millard had 3 sacks, Dolman had 2, Noga had 1, Thomas had 1. They couldn't run on him. Remember, the Vikings coming into 89 had the number 1 defense in the league.
Yeah, 33 yards receiving for Givens. Anthony Carter, 7 for 123.
All without training camp. He held out all the training camp.
And then Daryl Ingram was the second lead receiver, 4 for 45.
And he started because Steve Jordan had just signed. He held out during training camp too. But then he signed. I think Jordan had a touchdown though, didn't he?
So the scoring was scoring. Houston scored first. Alonzo Highsmith 1-yard run.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Anthony Carter, 32-yard pass.
Yep.
Steve Jordan, 2-yard pass.
Yeah, he did score.
Rick Feeney, 1-yard run.
Okay.
Field goal by Teddy Garcia. Rick Feeney, 3-yard run. Alfred Anderson, 2-yard run.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it
So
was an ass kicking. Let's just put it that way.
total net yards, 343 for Minnesota, 104 for the Oilers. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
They had Glanville wired for they had them wired for the game. And Glanville was going up to his players asking them, are they ready? And they were all saying they were ready. And they weren't. You know.
Yeah. So let's see. All right. So sacks. All right. So Mike Merriweather had 3. Oh, sorry. Was that? What else? Where's sacks at? Okay. So sacks. Dolman had 2.
Okay.
Millard had 3.
Yep.
Noga had 1.
Okay.
Henry Thomas had 1.
Yep. The whole front 4.
Yeah.
The whole front 4. Yeah. Yeah, and the thing, and I want to say Warren Moon was sacked like 5 times in the first half, and if he wasn't sacked, he was getting hit. So that was just an ass whooping.
I love you.
Yeah, that was just an ass whooping.
What, babe?
Yeah.
No, she won't go in if you close the door. Come here. Come here, baby girl. Yeah. So another team the Vikings have a winning record against. So that was 89 games. So 92, Oilers won that game, 17-13.
Oilers won it at the last, in the last minute. Warren Moon put together a drive. Warren Moon had been knocked around the whole game. Knocked around, just the Vikings had been hitting him, but Warren actually showed some guts. They actually made Warren Moon run. He was literally running. Well, he did run, and he
7 times for 46 yards.
Yeah, he took his last run. He took a hit. I think it was Vincey Glenn, and it was a pinch nerve, knocked him out of the game. Well, they ended up scoring the game winner on that drive, and we couldn't do anything afterwards. Rich Gannon was our quarterback, and he didn't look very good. That was kind of like the end of the whole Gannon thing because he just was not moving the offense at all.
So Dolman had 2.5.
Yeah.
Carlos Jenkins had 1. Randall had a sack and a half.
Carlos Jenkins had the sack that turned into a touchdown. He took Warren Moon took a shot, and I forget what were the Vikings? I think it was Audrey McMillan.
There was no score in the first quarter. Second quarter was field goal by Aldo Greco.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anthony Parker.
That's what it was, Anthony Parker.
50 fumble return.
Yep.
Rod Rivera's assassin with a field goal. Ernest Givens got a touchdown. And then Fod Rivera's got it. So they only scored the second and fourth quarter were the only 2 quarters for scoring.
Right.
Fod Rivera is a 1-yard touch, and then 14:52 left. 14:52 into the fourth quarter. So what?
8 seconds left.
48 seconds left. Yeah.
Yep. 8 seconds left. They scored.
Yeah. Lorenzo Neal, a 1-yard run.
And that was probably the start because the Viking offense wasn't moving at all with Gannon. And
Gannon was 8 of 28 for 111 yards.
Yeah.
4 yards per average.
Yeah. And then he didn't move the team. I think we played Cleveland next and barely won that game. We won it because the defense had an interception return.
Warren Moon was 28 of 38 for 243. That's the run and shoot right there.
Yeah, that's the run and shoot, which they were still running. I want to say Jack Pardee was their coach.
Cody Carlson's a backup. Wow.
Yeah. But that was probably the start of Rich Gannon getting benched.
Yeah, because Rich Gannon was not the same quarterback when he played for Minnesota when he played for the Chiefs and Raiders.
He was the
So,
same quarterback. We traded him to Washington,
so
and he wasn't even
rushing,
the same guy.
Lorenzo Wright was 18 of 81.
Mm-hmm.
That was the other guy who ran the ball for the Oilers. For the Vikings, Terry Allen was 13 of 44. Roger Craig was 6 of 26.
Okay.
And Chris Carter was the leading receiver.
Yep. Now, keep in mind, we had Chris Carter, Anthony Carter, and Hassan Jones.
Yep. Hassan Jones didn't catch a pass.
I don't even know if Hassan played.
Right. Roger Craig had one catch for 22.
Okay. And that was what, 92?
Yeah, that was 92.
So I don't think we played him again until 95. If I remember
So,
right.
yeah, 92, then 95, 98, 01. The Vikings won all three of these.
Yeah. And in 98, they were they were the Tennessee Oilers.
Yeah, that was they were the Tennessee Oilers in 98. and 2001 they became the Titans.
Yeah, and
They're
in
Titans by then.
2001 we played them as the Titans. Matter of fact, their last game as the Oilers in 98 was against the Vikings because that was the season ender. And they had already said
that was when I think they were playing at Vanderbilt.
Yep, Vanderbilt.
Or something like that, yeah.
Yep, they were playing at Vanderbilt. It was a Sunday afternoon game, Sunday morning. Or Saturday morning. And the Vikings were already well in the playoffs. So basically, it was the last game for the Oilers for the Oilers name. And 1999, they became the Titans, new jerseys and new uniforms and everything. But their last game as the Oilers was against the Vikings. What do we win that one? 26-16?
The 95 game was 20-17 in overtime.
Was it 2017 or 23-17?
No, 23-17.
Yeah, because Robert Smith.
I forgot they didn't do
the box score.
No, the extra point.
The extra point, yeah. Robert Smith scored the game winner in overtime.
21-yard run.
Yep, he scored the game winner, and then we played
Chuck
him.
Cecil with a 20-yard interception return.
Yeah, that was a bad.
What a name!
Warren Moon. Chuck Cecil, he could hit too.
Oh, yeah.
He was with the Packers and the Oilers and the Cardinals. So
Warren Moon was the quarterback of the Vikings.
Yep, Warren Moon was the quarterback of the Vikings.
And then Chris Chandler was the quarterback of. Oh my God, some of these names. Chris Chandler and Will Fuhr.
Oh, Will Fuhr, yeah, he was just he was a backup.
He was another bust that Houston drafted to be quarterback.
Yeah, he was just a backup. And
so Amp Lee was the second lead receiver behind Rusher. Chris Carter, 12 catches, 115 yards. Jake Reed, 5 for 58.
Yep. I forget who was covering Carter, but they didn't do a very good job of it.
That's usually the way it went. There were 3 sacks: Jack Del Rio, Ed McDaniel, and Broderick Thomas.
Yeah, and Broderick was if you notice, it's all the linebackers that got sacks. Broderick was kind of like that. He was kind of like a Jonathan Grenard that they got at the time. He never really panned out. We let him go after.
Dwayne Washington and Martin Harrison had the picks.
Oh, that's right. Martin Harrison, the D lineman, he caught a pass. He intercepted a pass, which I don't think we scored on.
Chuck Cecil, Darren Lewis had the 2 picks.
Yep.
For the Oilers, and Baron Wortham had the sack for the Oilers.
Oh, Wortham. Okay.
Yeah.
See, I forget. You say these guys, and I forget half these guys that when I hear the name, I'm like, okay, I remember him.
Well, it's like with the Will Farrell. And so the 98 game, the Vikings 26-16.
Yeah, that was
And I know for a fact Randy Moss scored in this game because I picture it in my head.
Moss and Carter both.
So there was a safety by Minnesota, intentional grounding on Steve McNair.
Yep.
And then Aldell Greco with a field goal. And then Gary Anderson with the field goal. Aldell Greco with the field goal. Eddie George, 2-yard run. Gary Anderson with the field goal. Randy Moss, 5-yard pass. Aldell Greco. And then Chris Carter with a pass from Cunningham. And then Gary Anderson with the field goal.
Yeah.
And this would be the last time we'd play the Oilers.
Yep. Last time the Oilers would use the name Oilers. After this game, they would be known as the Titans.
Such a dumb name.
The Titans?
Yeah.
I like it.
Compared to the Oilers?
Well, that's because you were in Houston, but there ain't no oil in friggin' where they're in Tennessee. Not that we know of. You know.
Oh, there could be. You never know.
Yeah, it's very true.
And then, so after 98, it was 2001. The Vikings won that one 42-24.
That was Todd Bauman's game. That's where they literally had Todd Bauman out there looking like Warren Moon.
Oh, my God. This site is so slow. They have so many damn advertisements. And both teams were 5 and 7.
Yeah, that was 01, so that was just a bad year.
Todd Bauman was 21 of 31 for 348 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Yep.
McNair was the Titans quarterback.
Yeah.
Michael Bennett, 16 rushes, 113 yards.
Does it say who had the sacks in that game?
Yeah, it has that listed. Okay, so all right, so the sacks. Let me see. Kaylee Wong had a sack.
Okay, Kylie Wong, yeah.
Lance Johnstone had 2.
Okay.
And Fred Robbins had 1.
Oh, Fred Robbins had a sack. Wow.
And then, yep.
Okay. I know Willie Howard played in that game a lot.
Let me see if he's even on here in the tackles. Doesn't look like he had any tackles. Man, Talent Sawyer and Stalin Collinet played in that game.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, wait, here we go. Willie Howard, 4 tackles.
Yeah. Yep. I think Chris Hovan played too, didn't he?
Yep. Let's see, Chris. Let me see. As far as he had any tackles, I don't know. Let me see.
There were games where Hovan was not even. He was out there, but he wasn't out there.
Yeah, he didn't have any stats. He probably played, but he didn't have any stats.
Yeah, he didn't have any stats.
Tyrone Carter led the team in tackles.
Oh, yeah.
Then Eric Kelly, Dale Carter, Kelly, Lance John, Ed McDaniel, the usual suspects. Riley Griffith, Lorenzo Hall, Kenny Wright, Talent Sawyer, Sterling Collinet, Jim Nelson, Patrick Chikawa.
Oh, Chikwara. I forgot all about him.
Sorry. Harold Morrow had a couple tackles.
Okay.
Must have been special teams.
That was special teams, yeah.
But yeah, scoring it. Eddie George, 13-yard run. Joe Nedney kick. Brian Chamberlain, 1 pass from Todd Bauman. Jake Reed, pass from Todd Bauman. Michael Bennett, 31-yard run. Doug Chapman, 38-yard pass from Todd Bauman. Then the Tennessee score were Derek Mason, then Michael Bennett, another 10-yard run. And then Frank Rychek scored on McNair, then Randy Moss, a 73-yard touchdown from Todd Bauman.
Yep.
Michael Bennett was lead receiver, 16 for 113. And
so he was a whole offense.
Randy Moss, 7 catches, 158 yards.
Typical Randy Moss day.
Very low, very low catches, but a lot of yards.
Yeah. So that was 01. So I'm assuming we played him again in like 04.
Let's see. Let me go back. So after 01, 04, and then 08, and then 12, 16, and 20.
Okay.
2004, the Vikings won 20-3.
Yeah, that was a pretty boring game.
So the Vikings won 4 in a row.
Yeah.
And then the Titans the Titans won 30-17 in 08. And then the Vikings beat them at 30-7 and 12. And then they beat them again 26-16 and 16. And then the Titans won 31-30 in 2020.
That was the Corona year.
Yeah.
That was Corona. That's where Justin scored his first touchdown. His first NFL touchdown was against the Titans. So yeah, we never played these guys much.
Yeah, it's that every 8-year thing.
Mm-hmm.
That
every 4 years.
every
now
4
you're
years, but
division.
every 8 years at home.
Yeah, so next time we play them, it'll be
It may not necessarily be 4 years now with the unbalanced schedule.
Yeah, they could play them anytime.
Yeah, they can play them. So they can play them next year again. But
The NFL is going to figure out what they're going to do with this schedule thing because,
well, I think when they go to 18 games, you just play the other AFC. Like you guys right now, like the Vikings are playing the AFC. They're playing the AFC this year? The AFC South, and then they play
We're
that
playing the
one
South
game
and
against the
then-
AFC East team. So I think when they go to 8-team schedule, you just play the team from the AFC West, or
if they do that at all, they could really shake it up if they wanted to.
Well, that'd be the best way to make it even, though.
Well, if you go to 18, what you're going to have to do is make one of them an NFC team and one of them another AFC team.
So, okay, I see what you're saying. So,
Yeah.
like right now, the Vikings, their cross division rival is the South.
Yeah.
Wait, no, not the South. The West.
They're
They're playing the West, but they're
yeah.
playing that one game against the NFC East team, the Giants. And then
we got the Giants because we finished like the Giants did.
Right,
so.
but yeah, but then you got and then no. What is
Matter
your
of fact,
infatuation with batteries?
The extra game for us this year, I think, was the Jets.
Well, yeah, and then next year it'll be whatever AFC team we don't play. It'll be another AFC team.
Right. So when
you go to 18 games, the two extra teams. No.
One AFC, one NFC.
Because right now they're playing the AFC South with the Jets, and they're playing the NFC. They're playing the NFC as a cross division. They're playing the NFC West.
We're playing the NFC West.
But they also play the Giants, and then they also play the Falcons. So they already play one NFC. They already play one team from each NFC division. So it'd probably more than likely be an AFC division.
Well, they did that because you usually play one and you play the other two NFC teams. They make up the where you finished.
Right. And then, but you play that one extra game a year, and that's a cross conference team.
Well, you got the 17.
Right. So, but when they go to 18 game schedule, they'll make it two teams from. So
I think it'll be one from each. I think
because right now, because there's 4 divisions, so you can do like
they're not expanding. They're not going to expand.
Yeah.
So you'll probably go one each, and then what they do, you're only going to have like 2 preseason games.
Well, it's always going to be 20.
It'll always be 20. The players aren't going to change that.
Yeah.
The players union is not going to change that.
I think 2 preseason games and 18 regular seasons the perfect balance.
Yeah, I can work with that.
Stop.
What Who it doesn't benefit
Stop.
is those
The
guys
owners,
that are trying to make the team.
right? And the owners, but the owners make enough money.
Owners make enough money. Who cares?
But
Yeah.
because there's people out there who can't there's people out there who play in games better than they practice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just you can't. I mean, and let's not kid ourselves. These coaches and front office people already know who they're going to have on the team. It literally is who you know.
The top 45, 46, yes.
Everybody else.
It's the 47 through 53 that they're not sure of.
Well, now here's another thing too. If the NFL eliminates the kickoff, they've talked about that. That takes a lot of jobs.
But I don't think they will, because the players union won't. I don't think the players union will allow them.
I think what, if they're going to keep it, just move it back to kickoff from the 25-yard line.
And then, but here's the thing, though: the NFL can't have it both ways. You can't go to an 18 team. You can't go to an 18 game schedule and keep the roster as it is.
No, you're going to have to have it. You're going to have what is it?
What's the reason for them not dressing all 53 anyway? What's the reason behind that? Only dressing 48 as opposed to 53. What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, and your emergency quarterback is 49.
So what's the reason for that?
I think they just came up with it because they figure those guys, you have a 53-man roster, you just have inactives. I think they still get a game check. That's all I can think. They never said, they just came up with it and was kind of like, okay, so you've got these other 6 or 7 guys that you're not going to play, which if you're not going to play them, why even have them on the roster?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
if you go to 18 game schedule, you have to get rid of that. You wouldn't necessarily have to expand the rosters, but you would definitely have to get rid of the inactives.
You go to a 60-man roster. Go to a 60-man roster, and because the season's long,
and then still have the practice squad.
You still keep the practice squad. And if you notice, teams,
especially if they're not going to go to 2 buys.
Well, they don't know what they're going to do with
so
that.
If they don't go to 2 buys, you got to have a bigger roster. Man, these guys can barely survive the season now.
It ain't like it was back in the day. I mean, these guys, this current generation of players, they don't have to deal with as physical a camp as they used to have. It's kind of laid back.
Well, shit, I remember doing 2-a-days.
Yeah, we did 2-a-days.
Both sessions in pads. Not the morning be a walkthrough. In the second half, you're in full pad. No. Both sessions were full pads.
Both days were full pads. And I remember Denny Green having 2-a-days in pads.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, Tony, what you do?
I tried to get away with it. Man, that one quit quick too. That one was done quick. But with now, since they let the players do a lot of the workout stuff on their own, a lot of these guys are workout ready. They just ain't game ready. You can see that with the offenses because it takes teams about a week or 2 to gel. It does, sometimes longer. And that's what happens when you don't have a lot of practice time. I mean, you practice against other teams, but you don't hit anybody.
Yeah.
Unless you're Garrett Bradbury and you get thrown around like a rag doll, but that's common.
Well, they actually watched the film on that. And you know why he got pushed back so easy?
Because he sucks?
No. Ed Ingram stepped on his foot.
Oh, God. Here we go again with Ed Ingram.
Oh, God. Ed Ingram stepped on his right foot. That's why he was able to get pushed down so easy.
Didn't Ed do that last year in the season opener against the Buccaneers and Bradbury was out of the game for like a week?
Well, yeah. And he also knocked the ball out of Cousins' hand to cause that fumble.
Okay, I listened to what KOC was saying, and he's like, okay, we see Ed grow, and he's getting better, blah, 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 blah. what damn player are you watching compared to the
Well,
one that we're watching?
hey, technically, if you go from the 113th ranked guard to the 98th ranked guard, you are improving.
Okay, Pro Football
So
Focus.
he ain't lying, technically.
Pro Football Focus had 47 right guards. Ed was number 46. There's one that's worse than him. I mean, come on.
Well, that's why I think Reisner should play. I know. We all know Ingram's a better run blocker, but Reisner can't be worse.
I think down the stretch, I think what they're going to have to do now, KLC's got to do this, run the ball. You put Ty Chandler in the game, you've got Akers.
Who ran the ball pretty well last week.
We did. We should have run the ball more. That would have killed more clock, which he still doesn't understand. Which
and
is
you
going
would
to
have
come back
protected your quarterback more.
That's going to come back and bite him in the ass too.
And you could have protected your quarterback more.
Yeah. But now here's a catch. Tennessee now for a 2-7 record has a number one defense.
Yeah, but their offense is so bad.
So who are we playing? Will Levis or Mason Rudolph?
Levis is back to being the starter.
Oh, Jesus.
He got sacked 7 times last week by a team that does not have a good pass rush.
Well, we better get to him at least 4 times this week. We better. They got Tony Pollard, so Pollard's not doing anything running the ball then, is he?
No.
Wow. See, games like this scare me.
They're good against the pass. They're not good against the run.
Okay, so if that run is working, KOC has to stick with it. He has to. He just has to. And even if he doesn't get a yard or maybe he gets stopped a couple times, don't give up on it. He gives up too easily.
And with the way Darnold is playing right now, you got to run more.
Yeah, his hand is messed up, I guess.
Oh, he's got to start Mullins then. Hey, this is the bed that the Vikings made, man.
Yeah. Well, like I said before, I expected McCarthy to be playing by now. That's why I said 7. I did say 7-10. So my prediction, pretty good. I said 7-10 wins. But I expected JJ to be playing by now. And
I think he would be, even if he was not hurt. I think the Vikings still make off that 5-0 start. Donald playing well.
Yeah.
And then I think after last week's game, they probably would make JJ like this might be JJ's first game starting. If he was,
this would have been, yeah. This would have been. But here's the thing though, with KOC's play calling, is that best for a rookie like McCarthy? His play calling will put McCarthy in some spots that are going to be detrimental to him.
Yeah.
You know, and that's, I mean, if you're going to come down on Darnold, then you should. You really got to come down on KLC for some of his play calling. His clock management is terrible. It is terrible.
The only one I really had an issue with was that 3rd and 1 play.
Oh, God, yes.
That was one of the worst calls I have ever seen a coach make.
Yeah. Yeah, 3rd and 1, what are you doing? Basically, what you're telling me is you don't trust your offensive line to get you that yard.
Yeah.
So, okay. So if you're telling us one thing and you're calling plays that prove another, what are you doing? I mean, are you trying to cover up the fact that your offensive line is not good? Because you're not doing a very good job of it. Those of us that watch the games can see it with our naked eyes. They're not good. That interior is not good. And now that you don't have Darisaw, Robinson came back to earth, but Robinson's an average left tackle. He's better than nothing, but he's average, maybe a little above average. O'Neal was their best lineman Sunday. So
yeah, Cam Robinson. I think that's because Jacksonville knows him, didn't play very well.
Yeah, they practice against him too, so those linemen know how to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
him.
So he did not. His game against the Colts was much better, but
Right.
we'll see what his game is against Tennessee because I think his game wasn't against Jacksonville wasn't good. That's because I think is because it was Jacksonville and he was literally on the team a week and a half ago.
Yeah, so they know. So now he's going up against, well, another division rival.
Yeah.
So another former division rival for him. So he might fare well. I mean, do we know the weather's going to be in Nashville?
Let me see. I think it's going to be nice, but
Okay. I thought it was going to be nice in Jacksonville.
well, that's the thing about Florida. You never know when it's going to rain. So Sunday is going to be 68. It's cloudy and 68.
Okay. And then they'll go to Chicago the next week where it'll be cloudy and 40.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. We've got to, going into that Chicago game, because you don't know what Bears team you're going to get. And it's a division game too.
The Bears are done.
I think they're done. But you know what? Those are the type of games that usually the Vikings lose.
Usually that's true, but I'm not really worried about a game because until we play Arizona, because I think the next two teams are so bad, just like Jacksonville, that we could play like dog crap like they did against Jacksonville and still win.
I don't worry about Arizona. I don't. I don't worry about Arizona. I don't worry about Arizona or Atlanta, especially Atlanta.
Well, not Atlanta now, no.
Yeah.
Cousins turned into Cousins.
Cousins never.
Well, so and speaking of that, what was the conversation like? Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh Lord. Well, his name wasn't Kirk. I'll just put it that way. No, I listened to her, but like she said,
But
they
you fully
missed three
understand.
kicks too. They missed 3 kicks. The defense didn't come to play, but that last play, I'm like, remember, that's what I complained about in that playoff game. The same thing that happened to you Sunday is what us Viking fans complained about in 22.
Right, except for it was a playoff game, though.
Except it was a playoff game. Yours was a divisional game. He checks down. He will do that. Just call him check down Kirk because that's what he is. So she wasn't happy at all, But
Another game that pissed me off was the Texans game.
You throw 5 interceptions and still win.
All that did was make the fucking Lions fans even more ridiculous.
Oh, now they're even worse. God. Although I do have to say this. Daniil Hunter made a highlight reel out of Penny Sewell. Did you see that spin move he did?
Nah.
Oh my God. He did a spin move on Penny Sewell.
He's always beat Sewell.
Oh, he embarrassed Sewell on this.
Yeah, he's always beat him.
He embarrassed him. If he was a little quicker, he would have had a sack. But it was embarrassing. Literally embarrassing.
I just think the Texans defense got tired. Because, they had 5 picks, but they were on the field the whole time.
Well, what's his name? Well, then it's like the offense couldn't do anything. All of a sudden, C.J. Stroud just was.
And they missed that kick, too.
Yes, they missed the kick.
If they don't miss that kick, who knows how the game turns out,
Yeah.
But I told people, I said the Lions are not only going to lose one game, they're going to lose one of these. They're going to lose one of these games. They may lose a couple games.
Right now, the only one I can see them losing, maybe Buffalo.
Well, hell, the Jacksonville defense plays like it did against us.
Yeah, but they got Mac Jones. That's what's going to kill them. And they're playing in Detroit.
I'm just saying, Detroit's only lost this year at home.
I would love for Jacksonville to go in there and beat their ass. But I think Jacksonville is just playing out the string now. And then when they stopped us on that third down at the end of the game, and you saw, who was it, Austin? punching the player, punching at the ball
Yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, that kind of summed up their season. It summed up Jacksonville's season.
I just think they're not gonna go 17-1. They're not gonna go 16-1.
They got to play the Packers again, right?
They gotta play us again. They gotta play the Packers again. Yep. They gotta play Buffalo.
And the Niners.
Yep. As I'm saying, the Vikings have already played all their hard opponents.
Yeah, we kind of got a cakewalk the rest of the way. Seattle's going to be a bitch because
Arizona, Atlanta, and Detroit. That's it. And of course, they got to play Green Bay again. But
and we got to go to Seattle. We never win in Seattle.
Seattle's,
Seattle may be just ready to just kill the season.
Yeah, by that point. Yeah.
But I mean, it's like
I think the Vikings might. I mean, I'm not going to say the Vikings are only going to have 2 losses, but the Lions aren't going to only have 1 loss.
So put it this way: if the Vikings do,
and the 49ers are getting healthy.
Yeah, that's another thing too. Well, here's the kicker now. The Vikings technically will still be in good shape because guess what? They weren't even expected to win 5 games by some people. And if they get double-digit wins.
Well, and if they go and if they have the 5 seed, they play either the South or the West winner.
It'll probably be Atlanta.
So it'll probably be Atlanta.
It'll probably be Atlanta, which means we go down to Atlanta.
Yeah. And I told people all the road teams can win. Because the Lions, let's say the Lions are the 1 seed, they'll be off, okay?
Yeah.
So then the 2 seed will be probably the East winner.
So now, okay, I got this for you. When they do go to the 18-game schedule, okay?
Yeah.
You're going to add another playoff team.
I think they had 2 more, and they go back to the top 2 teams having byes.
I don't think they have byes. I think they go 1 through 8, and you play the next weekend. Everybody.
No, I don't think the Player Association is going to allow that to happen.
Why?
Because they're going to be like the number ones. You said to have a bye week for rest. I'm just saying it's the Player Association.
No, that's bullshit.
The Player Association is not going to allow that to happen. They're soft now.
No, you go 1 through 8. It's 1 through 8, and you play.
I don't think. How long has the 1 and 2 seed or just the 1 seed had a bye week for 30 years now?
Well, longer than that because when they started the whole wild card round.
Yeah, it was 95, right?
No, the wild card round went all the way back to 78.
So
when the 16-game schedule happened.
Yeah, they're not gonna. Player Association is not gonna allow the number 1 seed to play an opening.
You know what though?
Weekend.
The NFL owners are going to make them give a choice. Do you want 2 bye weeks in the regular season, or do you want that bye at the playoffs?
They'll probably take the bye at the playoffs.
They're going to make them choose.
Yeah.
Yep, they're going to make.
Yeah, because we know the owners ain't giving up. No, the owners ain't
giving up 2 bye weeks.
Yeah.
Especially in August,
because to them the way they look at it is that once you get into playoffs, you're in. Yeah. So, but if you have the luxury of being the 1 or 2 seed, that bye week is really, what up, Swede?
Oh, what's up, Bob?
Yeah. Hey, Bob, if you can switch everybody who's just joining on Yogi's channel, if you guys can, because we're trying to get my watch hours up on my channel. If you guys can, I'll drop the link to my channel in the chat. If you guys can, I don't know if you are subscribed to my channel or not, but that would be appreciated. That way, we're trying to get my watch hours up. We're trying to get my, my subs up so I can get monetized. Also, Tony doesn't have a channel, but we're going to be adding his X channel and Facebook pages too. So.
Yeah, just send me messages and what have you. Ask me questions. I'll answer them. I'll definitely answer them. So,
yeah.
But I mean, it's getting back what we were talking about. The owners aren't going to get the players much, and the players have a union head that basically goes with what the owners owners want. So they're going to make them choose 2 bye weeks in the regular season, or do you want a bye week during the playoffs? But the only ones that will get the bye week in the playoffs would be the first and second seed.
Right, but I think it's deserved to be that.
But here's the thing. Now, this is where it gets really weird. If you're going to give the first 2 seeds a bye week and you've got 8 teams, so how is this going to work? You're going to have like 4 and 5 playing each other. You're going to have 3 and 6 playing each other. What happens to 7 and 8? Do one of them get a home game?
Well, so if 1 and 2 have bye week, okay, so that would leave what, 6 teams?
Yeah.
So 3, 4, and 5 would get the home games.
Why would 3, 4, and 5 get home games?
Well, because 1 and 2 would have to bye.
Right, but why would you give a wild card team a home game?
You give the best wild card team with the best record.
Give the best one. Yeah, that might work.
So, like, let's just say that this year there was an 18-game schedule. There was 8 playoff teams. So right now the Vikings would be the 5 seed.
The Vikings would be the 5 seed and have
their
a home
record
game.
their record is better than some of
Right.
the division winners.
They would have a home game.
So they should be they would host a home game. So they would host 8.
Okay. It's almost so basically you're rewarding the top 2 teams with a bye.
Yeah. Like it used to be. So it'd be the Eagles and the Lions.
Would it be the Eagles and the Lions?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah, it would.
Because the Eagles beat the Commanders.
Yeah.
So right now it's Lions, Eagles,
Cardinals.
Falcons, and then Cardinals. And then the Vikings, and then I think 6 is
Washington,
and 7's the Packers, and 8 is the Rams right now.
Packers are still hanging around, huh?
Yeah. So that'd be the Vikings and Packers wild card weekend. Tell me the NFL wouldn't want that.
Oh yeah, anything to make money, they'll do it.
Yeah.
That's very true. Anything to make money.
Yeah. So, yeah. I don't know. They'll figure it out. They always do.
Yeah, and you know what? The networks will have a lot to say with it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, it could be 3 games. It'll be 2, 3 games on Saturday, 2 games on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, 1 on Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just they're just making people get all these apps to watch these football games, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm like, I understand the streaming. I understand the young people like streaming, but what happens if your internet goes out? It does happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's gonna happen. That is gonna happen.
I don't know, Bob. The only way we ain't playing in the wild card is if the Lions shit on themselves.
And you know what? They're due to do that. That's bound to happen.
Yeah.
They can't keep this up.
No. Well, told everybody Jared Goff can't keep his play up, and what happened? He didn't keep his play up. He had 5 picks.
He's lucky, and against a better defense,
yep, they lose
that game.
Yeah,
they lose that game. They should have lost to us.
Yep, they should have. Yep,
they should have lost to us.
They play Jacksonville this week, so it's a long shot they lose.
Yeah, you know what though? If the danger is playing a team with nothing to lose. Like I said, the Vikings are playing the Titans. Titans have nothing to lose. Do
they want to play spoiler?
Yeah, have that on your highlight reel.
If what's his name's a quarterback, does Jacksonville win?
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah.
No. He has nobody to throw to. He played all year, and he literally has nobody to throw to. Nobody. I didn't even recognize that Jacksonville team we played.
The white helmets.
Yeah, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I recognize a couple of players, but I did not recognize them. By the way, can we put it out there? Can they please put Hawkinson on a pitch count? He damn near got killed in that game last week.
They don't win if it's not for him.
I know, but he took a shot that scared the hell out of me. I mean, he took a shot down there, damn near at the 10-yard line. He caught the pass, and they basically
the receivers didn't have a good game because the referees allowed the defensive back for Jaguars to rape him the whole game.
Well, those refs suck. Those refs are
How come the Jaguars quarterback gets a face mask but ours can't? Same exact play.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it shouldn't have been called, but how come the Mac Jones gets that call but Sam Darnold doesn't?
Yeah, exactly. Well, Jones was a Patriot.
America.
He was a Patriot, so But yeah, I know what you mean. But we won without the refs. We won in spite of the refs. We won in spite of Darnold's bad play, and we won in spite of KOC's play calling.
Yeah.
So it's like
especially that awful 3rd and 1.
Yeah. So I mean, who worries you more? In long term, who worries me more is KOC's play calling. So log into yours, right?
Well, you can keep you can I'm gonna talk to Yogi, and I'm gonna tell Yogi that because Yogi doesn't want me to use his channel because he wants to get my watch time up. But I'm gonna tell Yogi, like I'm gonna send a message to Yogi, say, hey, for the next week or so, I'm gonna use your channel to have your people come in, and then I'm gonna have them subscribe to my channel. So that because the Vikings Vintage is not going to be on Yogi's channel anymore after like 2 weeks. It's going to be strictly on mine and Tony's. The Friday free for all, if Yogi shows up, it might be on that as well. But so the Friday free for all, we still do that as well. It's just not on Yogi's channel anymore because Yogi's trying to get my watch hours up. So that's another reason why you need to subscribe. As long as you subscribe, Bob, and click that bell, so when we start Wednesday and Friday, and when I do the Sunday play-by-play, you'll be able to join. The Sunday play-by-play is Yogi does that sometimes. He doesn't do it all the time.
I might be on your play-by-play this weekend because the Falcons got the late game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Falcons got the late game, so I could be on for the.
But yeah, Bob, thank you. It's the one I shared in the link. That's my channel. Just go ahead and hit that as subscribe. I would appreciate it. And Tony, like I said, I'm going to try to link Tony's X and the Facebook page on here, so people can watch there as well. I think that might get us more viewers too, as well. I'm going live on Facebook and all that. So
I link it to. I put it on all my pages, my personal page, and on my 24/7/365 page, so it's out there. People see it. I got myself out there more than I choose to be, but hey, I'm out here. So,
but for those who joined us late, it's primetime Kirk. Come on, primetime Kirk.
It's 3 p.m. Kirk. That ain't much better.
She's better.
I mean, who do they got? Who are they playing this weekend? Hold on. I had the schedule here.
Is he hurt?
Who? Kirk?
Yeah.
No, he's not hurt.
They're not going to bench him. They're paying him too much money.
You know what, though?
They're playing the 49ers, aren't they?
No, they don't have the Niners. No, they have Denver.
They ain't scoring on that defense.
They got Denver in the Mile High City. And Denver's coming off losing that game on a field goal,
Thank
on
you,
a
Bob.
blocked
Much
field goal.
appreciate it.
Thanks, Bob. God, yeah. Shit. Kirk might surprise us and ball
Hey,
out.
Trisha, if you're not subscribed to my channel, that's probably where you're going to be able to watch Tony more. I don't know if you're watching Yogi's channel, if you're watching mine, but I put the link in the chat. That's it. Tony's going to be on that channel more than Yogi's channel now.
Yeah.
Be on my channel more. But yeah, so Vikings have the all-time. For those who just joined, Vikings have the all-time leading over Tennessee Oilers Tennessee / Houston Oilers 9-5-1. You're on
She's
mine,
on your
Trish.
sketch.
Thank you. So yeah, they play probably every They started playing every 3 years. Now it's every 4 years, obviously, with the new schedule. Vikings won 4 in a row. And then they've also won 6. They've lost. They've won 6. They've won. 6 of the last 8 too. So
Yeah.
and
hopefully they'll win Sunday.
Oh, they should win Sunday.
I'm not putting the cart before the horse.
That's why I said they should. I didn't say they will. I learned my lesson last week. I'm done. I am done talking shit. I am done praising this team. I am done saying this team's going to win dominant.
Well, remember,
just
it was
to win.
It was this time last year. We were feeling good about them, and they went full blown tank mode.
Yeah.
So
2006, same thing. 2016.
Yeah. So
I started off 5-0, finished 8-8. So
I'm taking it one game at a time, but it's just you want to get excited about this team, but the history and the past just sticks in your head.
The pain is
the
real.
pain. You don't get too excited. You keep it you stay calm and just ride it out and see what happens. You got to keep your highs and lows on an even keel.
We try not to fall into it. We get excited like all of the fans, this team is different, this team is that, this team is this, and it just ends up being.
There is a different vibe with this team this year. There is a different vibe. But when you still got the powers that be, and they're still doing the same crap they was doing last year without much changes.
Yeah.
You're going to be leery. You're going to be leery. So, but yeah, and we'll talk about it some more on Friday night.
Friday free for all. Like I said, tell your friends, to sub, and if they talk about anything, you don't even have to be a Vikings fan. Unfortunately, we got Lions. We're probably gonna have some Lion fans come on, but it's like I said, it's a free for all. So next week the Vikings take on the Bears. That's going to be a little bit of a longer show.
Yeah, there's a lot of history there. A lot of history.
Yeah. So we started late tonight because we were trying to figure stuff out backstage. I was out with the wife, got home late too, so that's another thing. Hey man, when you're not with your wife for a month and a half because she's out of town taking care of somebody, and she comes back, you spend more time with her than you normally would. But so we're getting back to our normal schedule. But like I said, we'll be back Friday night for the Friday free for all. That show starts a little bit later. That's more like 9:45, 9:50 Central Time. But yeah. I can't tell you, Trisha, how much I missed my wife. I'd never want to go back to being, not having a wife, especially the one I got. So Friday free for all, then the office, obviously the Sunday play-by-play, and then we're live again next Wednesday. We might start a little bit earlier if that's okay with you, Zoe. I sent Zoe a message. Sorry. That was yeah. No, I sent Zoe a message earlier about possibly starting early next week because it's the Bears. It's gonna be a longer show.
It's gonna be a longer show, yeah.
Yeah, so instead of starting at like 9:45, 9:30, we start closer to 9:15 or
Mhm.
so. That way we're not on till 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be a pretty long show. And then next time we play the Packers will probably be a long show too.
Most of our division foes will be long, unless
Yeah.
it's like maybe, well, the Cowboys, um,
Right.
Rams.
Well, the Falcons game one might be pretty long because
Falcons might be
Cousins.
pretty long too because we got a lot of connections there.
Yep.
So,
The Cardinal one's probably not going to be pretty long. It's probably going to be just like this.
yeah, and considering we got a terrible record against the Cardinals, especially when they were in St. Louis. So,
especially with how bad that team's been. Of course, you got the playoff, where they knocked us out of the playoffs. You got that game to talk about. So the Arizona game. This is probably one of the least relevant teams that the Vikings are playing this week in Vikings history.
yeah, this one, well, Jacksonville was too.
Yeah.
But in Jacksonville's they've been shorter, but as you know, Houston's an original AFL member, and our history with them is null and void.
Yeah.
We don't have much of a history. So,
but yeah, so next game, so the next, like I said, so the next one's going to be a little bit longer, so we're probably going to come on a little bit earlier. So final thoughts? Are you going to get the score on Friday?
I'll give my score right now. Vikings 26, Titans 14.
I think it depends on how many picks Sam Darnold throws. If Sam Darnold plays a clean game, I'm going to say it's 28-10 Vikings. If Sam Darnold throws picks, it's going to be more like 17-10 Vikings.
And not like last week's game.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Because the Vikings have no problems going down the field. So
yeah, and they've got that number one defense, but it's the offense that's bad. So you know what?
I think the Vikings are going to have a lot of short fields because of Will Levis.
Who knows? Ginkgo might get another touchdown.
Yeah. So we would like to thank everybody for joining us. And like I said, Friday free for all, and then the play-by-play on Sunday, and then Tony has his Facebook pages: Football 365, Pro Football Talk 365.
It's NFL and Pro Football 24/7 365. I've got a classic NFL and Pro Football 24/7 365, and I've also got Minnesota Vikings 24/7 365. If it's 24/7 365, it's my group. And I've got a couple of other groups too that are 24/7 365. So that's kind of how I separated them from everybody else.
So once again, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us, and we will see you guys Friday.